During his keynote speech at the Space Symposium in Colorado Springs, Colorado, Space Force General Chance Saltzman conveyed a straightforward message that the United States has entered a new era of space activities. In an interview with CNBC following his speech, Saltzman, the second ever Chief of Space Operations for the U.S. Space Force, emphasized that the United States is facing greater threats to its on-orbit capabilities from strategic competitors, with the level of congestion in space rapidly increasing due to a surge in tracked objects, satellite payloads, and launches. In his first broadcast interview since becoming the highest-ranking military official of the U.S. Space Force in November of last year, Saltzman stressed the importance of revising processes and procedures to tackle the evolving challenges in space, CNBC reported. Now, this message arrives at a crucial time when space is rapidly commercializing and geopolitical tensions have escalated, bringing about threats that existed beyond Earth to a domain where rules of engagement remain uncertain.
An official revealed today that the U.S. government is investigating more than 600 potential UFO sightings. CBS's David Martin reports newly declassified video shows one flying object that has experts baffled.
An American military drone conducting surveillance in the Middle East. Suddenly, an unidentified object zips in and out of frame. Slow it down, and it appears to be a metallic sphere. But where it came from and what it was doing remain a mystery to the Pentagon. One of many.
We are tracking over a total of 650 cases.
The head of the Pentagon office investigating UFOs told a Senate subcommittee the sightings are concentrated off the east and west coast of the U.S., in the Middle East, and the South China Sea. Here's a second video. The camera is watching another drone when an oblong object flies past. This time, an infrared sensor was able to get a different view and identify it as a commuter airliner.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on
The Pentagon says there is still no credible evidence any of the unidentified objects came from outer space. David Martin, CBS News, the Pentagon.
The hope that you can help get us over.
Okay.
Those things are real.
Okay, but if there are craft, there are beings.
Okay, people would have asked me about, I call them vehicles, okay?
Right.
No, I did not call them objects. That was too neuter for me.
Okay.
I had a Stanford professor said, you ought to call them objects, no. They have all the qualities of a vehicle. Mm-hmm. They can move. You know, they're just like a missile or anything like that. So that much we can say about them, for sure.
Okay.
So I'm calling it a vehicle.
Okay.
Okay, somebody comes along and says, well, now where would you manufacture one that's 2.5 Earth lengths long? And that's a hard question to answer. However, if you think of it in terms of its living entity, this is another kind of thing that we've got in our universe. And it can grow and grow and grow and grow.
Okay,
so it can be an MD and it can itself have life.
Uh-huh. So are you not positing the idea that those vehicles contain, beings who are, maybe like us?
Yeah, I only people kind of thing. There is the ship that picked up the Voyager capsule at Alameda Naval Shipyard, and they have a picture there of I think it's the Apollo flight that Buzz and Neil were on. But anyway, there is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off.
Not dark, black.
Black skin.
Really black. Yeah.
Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall?
Yeah.
How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got out the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but
Well, what?
say 7 feet would be probably a conservative estimate.
Have you heard about Clark McClellan's statement about that?
No.
Huge cigar-shaped ship appeared over the Air Force Base. These cigar-shaped ships were over a mile in length. One of them landed on the airport landing strip area. When it touched the ground, it created an earthquake like about a 3.5 to 4.0. It terrified everybody in the area. The back of this craft opened up, and several hundred young men with huge, heavy weapons came out of two sides of the ship and formed a protection line around the ship. And the people at that Air Force base, the commander, had a meeting with the individuals that were aboard this ship. And this particular race that landed those ships and that are seen in these huge cigar-shaped ships, they are a black race. They look like African Americans. They were about 6'4", 6'5". These tight-fitted. They were about 6'4", 6'5". These tight-fitting black leather outfits on, and the weapons that they came out of the ships with, they were huge weapons. And if you've ever seen a race of people that were conquerors, that had never been conquered, they've got this look about them of arrogance. That is exactly what these extraterrestrials had, and they informed these people at this American Air Force base that not only were they from a militaristic society, but they had controlled a large portion of the galaxy that we live in. And this was the statement that Ronald Reagan was making to the United Nations when he said that if all the countries on the planet realized that there was a threat from outer space and from an alien civilization, we would all come together, but he was not allowed to make this statement. What I tell you is true.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world. I couldn't help at one point in my discussions privately with General Secretary Gorbachev, when you stop to think that we're all God's children wherever we may live in the world, I couldn't help but say to him, just think how easy his task and mine might be in these meetings that we held if suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet. outside in the universe, we'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries, and we would find out once and for all that we really are all human beings here on this earth together.
These people are the same.
Che hanno accompagnato tutti i profeti della storia dell'umanità. I profeti.
Okay, that they accompany all the prophets in the history of humanity.
Questi esseri sono gli stessi che hanno accompagnato l'ultimo dei profeti.
These beings are also the same that accompany the last of the prophets.
Il profeta Gesù.
The Jesus prophet.